Okay, so the car is just now waiting for its appointment to get dyno tuned. In the meantime, I'm working on setting up all of my pulleys, make sure they're lined up properly. As a reminder, I do have an 8 rib pulley conversion on here that I did on myself. On my own. I have a video on it listing all the parts and everything that I use for it. The one thing I don't have listed that I will on this video is the part numbers for these pulley size right here. These idlers, they're 8 ribs. They come off of a 2000 F-150 with a big motor. And this one here, typically you would have a 90 millimeter here. I downsized this one and this one to a 76 millimeter. And then the one that's on the MoSaleen Pulley, which is what this video is about, is also a 76 millimeter. So I've done that in order to fit a 112 inch belt. And basically, this is the belt that I'm running there right now. I have a spare, but I also bought a 118, or I guess the diameter on it is 115, but anyways, if you're curious, this is the part number for the 114 and a half or 115, essentially as a spare, because in the future, if I can get this pulley to stop slipping, or I guess the belt over the pulley to stop slipping, I'm gonna have to go up in size on this pulley just so that I can get more mechanical grip on it. There's a lot of rotational mass to rotate the screws in there for the supercharger to work. That's the reason why I went to an 8 rib, so that it can grab more of the pulley and move that rotational mass without slipping. So once I take it to the dyno, I'll know for sure if it's still slipping. If it is, then I'll just upgrade on the size. That'll give me a much longer arm from the center to the outer, and then that essentially translates into more torque, moving the twin screw without hopefully having any belt slippage. So anyways, back to what this video is about. I'm gonna have to modify the MoSaleen pulley essentially to make it draw, or I guess to push it more towards the block, because as you can tell, the belt is sticking out right there, and it is causing it is creating damage, basically digging into the belt, and essentially over time will destroy it. So I can't just put a spacer here and push this in, because it's going to make contact with the timing cover. So the plan right now is to take this out. All I'll have to do, I'm gonna have to measure it, but essentially all I have to do is shift this hole here a little further down. What that'll do is essentially move this pulley further away from the lip here, and then into the cavity that's right behind it. And then I should be able to just put a spacer or nut or some washers in here, essentially pushing the pulley in. So yep, that's the plan, and see how this goes. All right, so I just came back from Napa. You guys are not gonna believe this. As the guy was kind of looking around in his computer for something, I noticed this pulley, which is actually like meant for a 6 rib, but it's pretty wide. This is an 8 rib here. I'm gonna put them up against each other here, and we're talking about, like, oh my gosh, like millimeters difference. So this is 70 millimeters as the A rib, but it's about, I think, 34 millimeters across and some change. This one just slightly more, but if you can tell, like, there's just really no difference between the two. And luckily for me, the original bushing or spacer fits nicely right in here. Yeah, actually this is gonna go on the other side, but it fits nicely in there. So really the only thing I have to do is put this in and figure out the spacing. I got a longer bolt just in case I need to put some washers or like anything back here to kind of push the pulley in further to essentially cover the entire width of the belt. And so yeah, so I'm much happier now. I don't have to drill anything. I don't have to come up with a solution for this bushing or spacer. And practically it'll be just a straight up replacement with this one, which by the way, I'll mention the part number and anything in the description, but the part number is that right there, 36173. And you'll need to give them this if you're ever replacing your 8 rib pulley or 6 rib. This will work with a 6 rib too. Anyways, and so here I'll show you the original pulley. So this is the 6 rib that originally came with the setup. So I'm gonna put this right next to each other here. You can tell that it's much smaller, which is fine because it's meant for a 6 rib and it works nicely with that belt. But something to mention is that this plastic pulley here is a $30 pulley. This right here is a metal pulley and it's $90. So the quality of this pulley is much better. Anyways, yeah, here we go. Okay, the pulley is in. Check it out. Look at all that room. It's not touching anything. Sits on there perfectly. I didn't have to drill a new hole, and I didn't have to put any spacers or use the longer bolt that I got just in case. And then check it out where it's sitting on the belt. It's covering the entire width of the belt, and this is an 8 rib, as a reminder. So it's on there. So all that's left is to start the car, and that is it. As you can tell, it still wraps around the supercharger. It keeps the belt away from the upper radiator hose, which is really the only benefit. Sorry for the glare there. The only benefit to the MoSaleen pulley is that it keeps that belt away from the upper radiator hose. Otherwise, this thing will run straight down. You're gonna get cuts down here. It's an absolute nightmare. So amazing pulley and setup and bracket and everything is great. I'm so happy that now with a 70mm pulley, slightly smaller, and then basically it's plug and play for the 8 rib setup that I have going here, which is anything but stock. But I replaced some other pulleys as well. This used to be a 90mm, because I'm running a smaller belt. I had to change this to a 76mm. So this is 76 Eiler. This is also a 76 Eiler. They're both the same pulley. And yeah, I got a brand new tensioner as well, beefier one, because the stock one that comes with the car just isn't strong enough to be able to handle the setup. So a bit expensive, but worth every penny, and it's got a lifetime warranty on it. So all right, time to start it up and see how this thing settles in. Perfect spacing. Nothing's making contact. Running nicely on the Eiler. Yes. Heck yeah. So this was my biggest headache here for a few days, but that's taken care of. Thank you.